Today we are going to talk about a ministry that is very exciting in our congregation. As we've been going through these stewardship moments, we've been talking about the way that our generosity as members of Apostles impacts real lives. And we have Donna and Chase here to talk about a really interesting way in which our generosity impacts real lives in the world. They were able to be on our congregation's mission trip to Guatemala last year, and they're going to share some of their experiences with us. So, first question, can you just tell us a little bit about the trip to Guatemala? What was it about?
So, Pete and Betsy have been going to Guatemala for about 13 years, and so they've involved our church in this mission trip. So it's a medical mission trip, and we also do construction work. So we usually work in 2 different clinics and 2 different villages, and sometimes we go to other remote areas where they set up a clinic for just a day. So that's what the medical team does, and then we have some folks that are not medical that, social workers that have been able to do some counseling. We have provided reading glasses, so we have a station where folks can get those and try them on. And then we also work with the children that are there being seen or just with their families, and we entertain them, and we have like a coloring station, and usually some little toys like balls and little cars and things that they can play with while they're waiting. And then the construction team is usually putting in stoves. And I don't want to say too much about that because Chase will talk about it, but that is their main focus. This year we're going to be able to help, I think, with building a new school building. So that's going to be a new experience this year. We also provide care kits that we make here that most of you have helped with probably, that have soap, a toothbrush, toothpaste, safety pins, because those are used a lot, some Band-Aids wrapped up in a towel, and people love to get those, so we usually distribute those during our clinic time.
Oh, thank you. A very good description of a lot of effort that goes into having this trip take place. One of the things that I also heard about the group going down there in our congregation is that we sponsor 3 children, and that other members of the congregation sponsor other children, and that you actually got to meet some of the children. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what it means that we sponsor these children?
I'll tell you about what the sponsorship covers, and then maybe Chase will talk about what it was like to meet some of the children.
Super.
The sponsorship is between $35 and $40 for 1 month. And for children that are school age up until 6th grade, it provides them medical and dental care, after school tutoring. It gives food for their whole family. There's other additional kids programs they can take part in. They get vitamins, shoes, and they make sure they have clothes to wear to school and school supplies. And then after 6th grade and above, you have to pay tuition to go to school. So those children that are sponsored get to attend school. And it still provides the other things, making sure their whole family has food, and their medical and dental care. So it really is a program that benefits both the child and their whole family. And that's what Partners in Development is trying to do, is help bring people out of poverty with their model, and that's one way they want to lift the whole family up together.
Great. And so what was like meeting some of the children that were sponsored by Apostles?
I didn't really get to meet a lot of the kids that we sponsor as a church, but I got to meet 2 of the kids that my family sponsors. Pedro, I met him in the village that we go to later in the week, and did I get to meet
His mom.
I got to meet his mom, and she just really expressed how grateful she was for not just the church, but for us. And,
oh no, I met his mom. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it's really nice getting to see a kid that you ended up choosing a couple years ago, to sponsor, and then getting to meet them in real life, and kind of having that sort of connection, and then meeting the what was her name? What was the young girl?
Katarina.
I got to meet the girl that we met. Her name was Katarina, in the first village we go to, and I actually got to put a stove in her family's house, and her family just, as soon as they saw me, they were like, "Oh, picture, picture," and they just really expressed how grateful they were. And then we went back so my mom could meet her, and they were actually using the stove, so that was pretty cool.
Awesome. So you had a relationship by sponsoring somebody, but then you actually got to meet the people and interact with them. That's so cool. Speaking of stoves, I know that you helped to install stoves in some of the houses down there. Can you tell us a little bit about why stoves, why that's important, and how it touches the family?
When Pete and Betsy first started going down there, asthma was a really big problem because how they cooked like all of their meals, they had a fire on the dirt floor of their house, and it was just staying in. And we actually ended up going into some of the houses, well, most houses had it like that before we installed a stove, but you could see this thick layer of black stuff on the metal roof, and it was just the buildup of smoke over the time, and people breathing that in because there was no way to leave. So what we do is we install a stove that it's not only more affordable, it's also safer for children to be around. It's safer so people don't have to breathe in the smoke, and it takes less wood, so people don't have to be out as long looking for wood. They can actually be doing other things to help the family. But we build the stove, and then we have this this pipe, and it has chicken wire around it so the little kids can't touch the hot part. But it goes up through the ceiling, so the smoke just goes straight out into the air instead of staying into the house.
Great.
So they've seen a lot less asthma.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've had to give out hardly any inhalers after the project started, so they could see a real benefit from the stoves.
And about how many did you do?
This past year we did 50.
Wow.
In 5 days.
Wow, that's awesome. So in terms of the people down there and your interaction with them, can you actually feel the love of Christ being shared in the moments that you spend there and the ways that our congregation touches people?
You can. To me, the villages feel very homey, and the folks seem to be more focused on like what's really important in life, and they're very, very thankful. Just that we come down, they always they share our faith, most of the folks, and they're always quick to say God bless you for everything, even if you're giving somebody bad news in clinic about their family member. You know, they're God bless you, God be with you. It's a very different, it's just a different experience to be in that environment. We often pray in the morning, like in clinic before it starts. We try to get everything set up, and we have interpreters. Depending on which village, we might have 2 different sets of interpreters for Spanish to English, and then this language called Quiche. And we gather and we'll say a prayer in the morning. And the first time I went down there, it really struck me and gave me goosebumps that we were praying, and I didn't know what people were praying, but I knew we were all praying for the same thing. And as they were praying, you just feel the Spirit in that place. And it's a very simple clinic, but it's filled with so much good energy. I'm just really glad that I've had this experience to go.
Awesome. So you go down there wanting to share the love of God with others, but is the love of God shared with you while you're down there? And can you just flesh that out a little bit?
So I know for me, the interactions with the patients, I saw that, I felt it there. Seeing the exchanges between, I'm just going to use for example, like Janet and Linda, you know, getting people their reading glasses and the joy you would see there. also with the children, like when we met Pedro, I met him on a Thursday, and then he came back on a Friday to see Chase after school when he finished school. He was walking home, and they played soccer for like an hour. They played outside, and he waited until we left. We had to pack up everything that day because we were leaving, and he just stayed with us and waited, and just had this infectious smile as we were. He actually waited on the side of the road until our bus pulled away and watched us, and kept waving and smiling. It was just so neat to meet him. He also picked me flowers on Friday, but it was just really cool. What else can you think of?
I'm sure as you went into people's homes and they welcomed you into their homes, they shared God's love with you.
I've heard from the stories before I went down there. It's this really big thing. They have this obsession with corn tortillas that they all make by hand, and so I hadn't seen it the first 2 days, but when we went to the second village, it was like the first house we walk into, corn tortilla. Here you go. Thank you for installing the stove. But in every house you went to, it's just constant. Like, there's this one house we went into in the first village where I don't think they knew like who we were or like why we were there, but they knew that we were gonna install a stove, and the lady came back like probably 15 minutes later with a bag of groceries and gave it to us. And yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Nice. So, to kind of sum up, your generosity touches real lives, and the ways that we support the mission trip to Guatemala and sponsor children and everything really does touch people. And you witnessed it. You saw this happen. You were with the people whose lives are blessed by what our congregation does, and you were blessed by the people down there. If we had the people from Guatemala here with us right now, and they were able to say something to the congregation, what do you think they would say?
I know they would say, God bless you and thank you. I know they really appreciate us coming, and over the years have built relationships with folks. Some of the people in the village definitely know Pete and Betsy when they come, and they know that's the team, and then they'll show up for medical care. So they would really say thank you, and just God bless you, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you again for all of your generosity and the way that you support our congregation and through our mission trip, folks in Guatemala. Do you want to say thank you as well?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, and have a good day.